You haven't been considering the RX Vega Founders Edition, have you? But in this video, I'll show you not only why you should, but why it might be the most important investment you make in Q1 of 2018. Alright guys, welcome back. My name is Seth Estrada, and obviously you're watching this on my YouTube channel, Seth Estrada. Now, what I do for a living is not GPU crypto mining, but I do consulting and I do content creation. I'm a multimedia producer who does stereoscopic 3D and VR. So I have a high interest in using graphics cards that are very powerful, and it just so happens that those same graphics cards are being snapped up by GPU miners. So here I am talking to you about GPU mining. You're welcome. All right. This particular spreadsheet is a breakdown of the efficiency per watt and the dollar per hash calculation of popular GPUs that are being used for GPU mining. How did I get this data? Well, over here on the data spreadsheet, the data side, all of these numbers right here for the different popular algorithms were obtained either from whattomine.com or chased down across Reddit to get some of the most optimized numbers for each and every card. Now you notice right here, the Vega Founders Edition, both for air and for water, some of the numbers I had to find another way. I had to really hunt those down. So you're welcome in advance. And then the same is true for the 1080 Ti hybrid and water-cooled editions, as well as the 1080 hybrid water-cooled editions, the 1070 Ti and the 1070 hybrid editions. The hash rates are largely similar across those, but let's talk briefly about what all of this means. And then I've got a specific ask for you, but I'll cut to the chase. It has to do with contributing. Sharing is caring. I'm sharing this spreadsheet with you. If you can share your best numbers with the community, then we all benefit by getting a clearer picture of what's possible in GPU mining. But let me jump over to the dollar per hash tab right here and talk really briefly about all these different numbers here. Now, if you're new to crypto mining, we'll do sort of an intro to crypto mining in a future video. But just to break it down very simply, all of these descriptions at the very top, these are different algorithms that produce cryptocurrency, rather that contribute to the blockchain and that earn you rewards by contributing. That's mining in a nutshell. And what I've done here is I've taken all the most popular algorithms listed on whattomine.com and I put them in a table against the cards that you can use and the prices that they currently cost in terms of where you'll get them today on Amazon or on eBay, what you can expect to pay today. Barring any availability issues, a seller will sell these cards to you today, and they'll ship them out to you today if you pay that price. That's where that pricing comes from. But these algorithms, sorting, for example, here on CryptoNight, which I think we've already done. There we go. On CryptoNight, you'll see the very top of the list. It becomes an ordered list. Let me do that one more time in slow motion. Sort sheet A to Z. And that's going to give us the price per hash king for that given algorithm. We can do that across the list here. NeoScript. That'll show us that it's kind of a mixed bag. Same with Libri, which will show us that, wow, basically NVIDIA takes the day there. And Blake also, looks like it's a different story. But all of these different algorithms will show us which mining card will get you started with a given algorithm cheapest. So the R9 280X is a very inexpensive card. It still only costs around $250. You can find sellers that will sell you multiples of this card, most likely used for around $250. That is to say, it's available, you can get your hands on it, and it's cheap. And it hashes at a high enough rate that it's less expensive to start hashing with the R9 280X than it is for, say, the GTX 1080 Ti on a water block. That's one of the most expensive ways to go, or the 1080 hybrid, one of the most expensive ways to go. At least for Kryptonite, the R9 280X is the cheapest way to start hashing today and be profitable. So on the top 5 right there, we've got the R9 280X, we've got the RX 580, we've got the Vega Founders Edition. Now this was a shock for me, and I told you in the beginning of the video that I would show you how this works. But the Vega on air is third place in terms of dollar per hash. That is to say, even though the price, $1,300, and close fourth right behind it is the Vega 56, they're both $1,300, but because they are so incredibly good at mining Kryptonite, they are lower per hash in terms of price than almost any other card, and certainly any card from NVIDIA. That's because they're very good at this algorithm. So consider that. In the top 5, 2 of those cards are Vega cards, right? They're Vega cards. And one of those cards is the Vega Edition. I was shocked when I saw that. frankly, I was shocked because the Vega edition has, for a lot of people, caused difficulty in terms of mining. And in fact, it's caused difficulty in terms of gaming too. A lot of people are saying it's not a very good card for either. But this is my little secret, my little tip and trick for the day. I believe the Vega edition will be the best kept secret of Q1 and Q2 of 2018. So if you can get your hands on them, which, newsflash, you can, they're available, then they will mine very well for you. And with updated drivers, I believe that they will be viable gaming cards as well. They'll be able to do both as AMD issues more support for them. Okay, that's Kryptonite in a nutshell, at least dollar per hash. Let's go over to efficiency though. And right here, Kryptonite, I'll sort A to Z, and the top 5 kind of changes. Now you can see the RX 580 in terms of, well, lest I get ahead of myself, let me tell you what this means. The efficiency per watt simply means this is how much electricity is consumed for 1 hash of Kryptonite. A lower number is better, less power consumed equals greater profitability. Now the average for the United States is 13 cents per kilowatt hour. And so there's a real cost to this. Obviously, electricity isn't free. So the less you spend on electricity while mining cryptocurrency, the more money you make in the long haul. And especially after you reach the point that you've returned money on your investment, ROI, that means that everything after that point is pretty much pure profit after you subtract the cost of electricity. So once you've gained back the money you initially invested, and let's look at this top 5 here. These are not cheap cards for Kryptonite. In terms of getting really good performance, they're all over $1,000, over $1,200 even, except for the RX 580. The RX 580 is so efficient at Kryptonite that it's really worth considering if you can get your hands on it. That's the difficulty there, is availability. The Vega 56 also not very highly available, but the Vega edition, both on air and on liquid cooling, are available. They're out in the market and they're available. The liquid cooled version might be a bit more pricey. Again, what I'm seeing as a price that you can definitely pick it up for today is $1,800. Whew, that's steep, right? For that price, you could practically, if you really were able to negotiate hard, you could almost get 4 of the RX 580s. That said, you might not be able to find them at that price, and you might not be able to convince somebody to part with their used RX 580s. But the Vega edition, both on air and on liquid cooling, available probably today. So you can start mining today, and as soon as you've broken even, then you'll be able to mine more efficiently and more profitably on Kryptonite than on almost any other card from any other manufacturer. All right, guys, so something to consider there. That's why I told you you should consider the Vega edition. Let me show you a couple other cards that are here on this list. Just important to note that I've added a couple of models right here. You'll see the 1080 Ti H2O. That just means that it's got a water block. So, for example, EVGA has a model that is the Hydro Copper. And you can also just find models. You can get water blocks and install them as an aftermarket component if you really want to. That can cause some problems for mining because then you have to run tubes between all the different GPUs that are on a water block, and it just reaches a point of diminishing returns when you have 5, 6, 10, 100 cards in an array. Much easier to just buy a card that has a fan on it, right? But I put it here for kicks and giggles just so you could see. Some people asked, like, hey, are these worth buying? And certainly the 1080 Ti Hybrid or the 1070 Ti Hybrid, the Vega edition on water, it has its own built-in water pump. Same with the 1070 Ti Hybrid, 1080 Ti Hybrid. They're worth considering only because they've already got built-in cooling. But if you had to install your own water block, like on the 1080 Ti Hydro Copper, then, well, it's going to cause a headache. Plus, it's going to increase your power consumption. Let me show you what I did here on the data tab. So right here, the hybrid editions are listed at 280 watts for the 1080 Ti Hybrid. And for the 1080 Ti on water, it was listed under EVGA's website as consuming 280 watts on the high end. And I added 15 watts total in the event that you may want to add your own radiator that has 2 or 3 fans, and then add a liquid cooling pump. That's per card, because a liquid cooling pump is going to be anywhere between 5 to 10 watts, and then each one of those fans is going to be somewhere between 3 and 5 watts. So I just averaged it to about 15 watts in additional power consumption on the high end. The low power consumption, I pretty much left the same. So it's on a similar playing field to the 1080 Ti. Now, of course, the average power consumption goes up, as you can tell from over here. Now, all the numbers on the efficiency per watt are affected by that power consumption. But now you know what I did when adding those cards. I'm here to tell you guys, you should strongly be considering the AMD RX 580 if you can get your hands on it. Strongly be considering the GTX 1060 if you can get your hands on it, because they're a little more rare. Now the 1050 Ti, you should be considering it, possibly. Might not be the most efficient, but it is fairly efficient and it's extremely low cost and available today. And again, you should be considering the Vega edition. You might have considered not looking at the Vega edition because of the difficulty in getting it set up, but mining is all about doing something that others are unwilling to do because it's difficult, and then reaping rewards. If you haven't already contributed your best numbers right here into the hash rate sides, then go ahead and put in your best numbers. And if you have a card where you know you've been able to optimize the power consumption minimum to something lower, which, by the way, is how we got our RX 580 lowest number right there, was because of a user contributed data, then by all means, please add what your lowest power consumption has been on a given card and add what your best hash rate has been on a given card, but only add data that you've gotten consistently, right? If you've only been able to maintain those numbers for 3 hours and then your system crashed, or 15 minutes and you looked like a rock star, but then something exploded or something lit on fire, then please don't contribute those numbers. I don't want you to light my house on fire with your bad data. Okay, mister? If you haven't clicked on something in the description, by all means, please do. Those are affiliate links to some of the lowest prices on GPUs today for Amazon, as well as some of the best, most highly recommended components. Risers in 12 packs, 4-in-1 PCI Express multiplier, as well as other components that you need to get started in mining today. They're available, guys, today, so you can get started with mining by purchasing these components. It helps support this channel, and it helps support various crypto mining groups on Facebook that help bring you value-added information, help you hit the ground running. All right, guys, my name is Seth Estrada. Thank you for hitting subscribe down below. Thank you for hitting the bell so that you're notified of upcoming episodes. Your support means the world, and your viewership is why I do this. I'm here to support you. All right, guys. Love your face. I'll see you in the next one.